that really stand out for you?
It's got to be Doctor Who.
Hey.
I have to say, I was so thrilled when I got that, because actually, to be asked to be in Doctor Who at this particular stage in its lifetime is a huge compliment. And if you just look at the actors that have been involved in it over the last 2 to 3 years, I mean, they are all A-grade listers, and it's really an honour to be in it. So, and not only that, but to actually be in an episode with Daleks. I mean, that is icing on the cake. So no, I mean, I have to say it was. And what happens, of course, what happens after that? It's the gift that keeps on giving, because what does it do for you? It creates the world of conventions. And I have since been to endless conventions all over the world, Chicago twice, LA, I'm going to New York in October, and you know, it's like all over England, Derby, you know, so it gets you out and about, and meeting the bands, and meeting the people, and you know, you get proposition, which is great, you know. I'm in a lift in Chicago, and you know, this sort of really weird-looking creature in this outfit sort of slips me a piece of paper, and I look at it later, and it says, "There's a party in room 1532, 11 o'clock," and I thought to myself, I'm going to die if I go there, I'm going to die. Ian McNiece will be dead in some hotel, and it'll, you know, they'll, you know, from God knows what, asphyxia or some really strange sexual moment that had happened in some Chicago hotel. So stay away from those invitations, everybody. You're probably giving them out yourselves, aren't you? I can see it now. Yeah, I'm staying at Jury's Hotel if anyone who comes to... Oh, okay, go on.
And you mentioned working with the Daleks. How did you find that?
Well, I have to say, it is very funny when they take the tops off and the guys come out from behind them, because... And these guys are really adept at what they do, because they've been doing them for years. And you think it's quite, you know, in this age of CGI, this age of all these special effects, and they really are Heath Robinson kids, because they're moving them around on their feet inside. They really are. It's very, it's not rocket science going on to there. I take my hat up to them, because they've got a lot to do. So they've got to hit their marks, and it's not easy stuff.
Can you talk a little bit about being cast in Doctor Who and how that worked?
What happened was, I'd actually, previously to doing the show, I'd actually been at the National Theatre, doing a play. I haven't done a play for years and years, because theatre doesn't pay very well. I'd done it in my early years, and I'd stopped doing it because I had kids, and I had to get them through college, and I'd done all that, and eventually this offer from the National came in about playing Winston Churchill, and it was in a show with Jeremy Irons playing Harold Macmillan, and I thought, this is great. This is a good way to go back in. It wasn't that much, and it was a good way to go back after 17 years. I didn't tell anybody, because on the first night I was myself, I have to say. But I think, I have a feeling that maybe someone in the Doctor Who unit had seen that production, because I think that's how they got in touch and said, come and be our Winston too. And guess what? He's coming back. Yeah, season finale. I love that. Very American, that, isn't it? The season finale of Doctor Who. Yeah, the last episode in England, the last episode, will feature several of the characters you've seen before will be coming back, including, I think, Mr. Simon Cowell will be appearing, as well as myself. I wish I could tell you what it was about, because even when I was making it, I had no idea what it was about. And I still don't. And even when I asked the director, he said, it doesn't matter, just do what you think is fine. And I said, oh, okay, but I really don't know what's going on. He said, nobody knows what's going on. And that comes from the director. So, you know, which ship are you going in, you know?
And do you think you might be coming back to another episode of Doctor Who?
Well, let's hope. I have a feeling that I'm praying that there are these, you know, 2 or 3 guys that they might drag out from time to time and bring back in. But what was encouraging about it being in the season finale was the fact that time was of no essence. That's all I could say, because time didn't mean anything where I was. So that being the case, I think there's every chance that not only Winston can come back, but several other characters too.
Okay. And I was wondering about the research that you did for Winston Churchill. Was that really sort of heavy research that you needed to do to get all the
I
things right?
I did quite, because I've done a lot of research for the play.
Yeah.
I'd done quite a bit of that before, including going to various places. I actually ended up at the graveside of Winston Churchill, which is near Blenheim Palace. Blenheim Palace is where he was born, and there's this little village just outside. And it was a winter's night. It was about like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and I was at the graveside, and there was this mist that suddenly appeared from nowhere. It was very, very spooky, and I looked down at his graveyard, and suddenly I heard this sort of whisper come up from the crowd, and it went, "Don't fuck it up, boy." From nowhere it just came, and then I thought, you know, I'm sorry, there were children in there, and I apologise. I'm just looking at the mother now. I do apologise. I'm just going to see for the first time. If I do anything like that again, slap me.
Okay. Did you find it different playing the role on stage as to on screen? Was there anything you had to tweak?
Yes, yeah. I mean, the thing about stage is you can be quite large with it. Once you get into a television environment, everything's going to be taken down and made more naturalistic. Although I have to say, Doctor Who there's a twinkle. It's not entirely naturalistic, Doctor Who. So you have a license to be. There's a twinkle that goes on with it, which is elevated. So it's not entirely naturalistic. Yeah, it's heightened reality, I call it.
And how did you find working with Matt and Karen?
I thought they were awful. What can you say? What can you say? I mean, Matt Smith has got to be one of the nicest, I hate him, one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. I mean, he really is. I mean, I was probably his second, because it wasn't shot in sequence, I was probably the second or third one he'd done. And he was still experimenting, obviously, and he was huge boots to fill. I mean, going in after Tennant, who everybody loves, and still you go, who's your favourite? You'd like David Tennant or Don Baker, but so he's got a huge amount of fill, and it's like, so a terrific admiration for him, and his energy and his inventiveness and his quirkiness. I just absolutely loved. I knew who he was because I'd followed a TV show he'd done called Party Animals, and I thought, this is an interesting actor from that. So I knew him from that, and apart from anything else, he's just a very generous guy, and of course, who's he with? I mean, she's got legs that go all the way up. She is so beautiful, and very sweetly. We were doing, I think it was the second week we were in, and they both came in, and they were bubbling. And she said, Karen said, he rang me last night because he said, you've got to turn on BBC Two, you've got to turn on BBC Two. It's McNiece, he's in Ace Ventura. So they both watched the Ace Ventura stuff, which was very, very sweet. And it was like a homecoming, going back to do the second one. They were all very excited about me coming in, which was nice, and that. And so great. No, I got terrific fondness and admiration for them. And I very sweetly, he told me that I gave him, when I left, I found in the shop a little Dalek purse. It had a little Dalek on it, and I bought it just as a little keepsake before I did the show. And as I left, I gave him the little purse, and I said, look, that's just for good luck. And he told me, months later, when we met up again, he said, and this is no lie, he said, I used to take it out from time to time and look at it and go, and it gave me some inspiration. And whether it did or not, it's a great story. You know what I mean? And I was really touched by that.
At the end of the Victory of the Daleks, your character tries to steal the TARDIS key from the Doctor.
Yeah.
If you were to go in the TARDIS, just for one day, where would you go?
Well, I've had this question before, and I'm going to say exactly what I said then, which is this. Back to the land of Henry VIII. and have dinner with them. Because my goodness, did they go on forever, those meals.